This is a production of PBS Charlotte.
The following episode of Charlotte Cooks is brought to you by Central Piedmont Community College and viewers like you. Thank you.
Today on Charlotte Cooks, we're cooking key lime pie, and we're giving it a twist. There, and welcome to this edition of Charlotte Cooks. I'm kind of excited for you to be here today because we're making key lime pie. And not only are we going to make key lime pie, but we're going to make a little twist to it. We're going to make a sour orange pie, and then we're going to make a key lime and sour orange marbled pie. And the flavor is what's going to make it marbled because the colors are kind of like the same. But nonetheless, we're going to get started. So for key lime pie, first thing you're going to need is a crust. And so you have the option of going to the store and actually buying the crusts already made. And there's nothing wrong with doing this if you don't want to make a crust, because really key lime pie is the easiest pie in the world to make. And if you wanted to make one really quick to take to a potluck or some kind of an occasion you're going to, there's no reason you can't go ahead and buy the crust and just make this filling and fill it in and have it going. So I'm going to show you today how we're going to make that crumb crust. And so we're going to start with some graham cracker crumbs. We're going to put some graham cracker crumbs in a bowl, and you're going to notice I'm not going to measure because you don't have to measure. You're going to add graham cracker crumbs. You're going to add a little bit of sugar to this just to sweeten it. If you didn't want to add sugar, you don't have to. The sugar is just there to give it a nice sweetness. The other thing we're going to do with this is we're going to add melted butter. Okay? So the melted butter goes in, and you stir this around until it all holds together. Don't just pour the butter in and not gauge how much butter you have. Add it gradually so that you don't have too much butter and you have the perfect crust holding together. And so how much butter are you going to add? You're going to add until the crust actually will hold together when you squeeze it, okay? So I'm going to keep adding a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. If I added it all at once, I may not need all of it, and I'd have to go find more crumbs to actually make this work. Okay, and I'm going to add a little more butter to this. See, it's starting to hold together, but it's not holding together the way I want. So just a little bit more. There we go. So far, it's not so hard, is it? You can do this. I know you can. So is this going to hold together? Almost. A little bit more butter. And that should be what we need. So you're just moistening your crumbs and your sugar so that they hold together. And there we go. Okay. See, now we've got a nice, it actually feels different. Okay, so it's going to hold together. Okay, so this is what we're looking for. Once we get this done, let me get a towel and wipe my hands off here. We're going to take a pie tin. Now you can use the aluminum pie tins, you can use whatever pie tin you have. You're going to simply take this crust. You're going to put it into your pie tin and you're going to press it in. Now, the thing about crusts is you don't want, just like any pie crust, you don't want it to be too thick. So go ahead and take like a little measuring cup, something you can press it in with, and get it all pressed in and press it up against the sides. And if you need a little more crumbs in here, put another spoonful of crumbs. You can always take it out and you can always add more, because all you're doing is just pressing this crust into shape, okay? You want to make sure you get your corners and then press the edges, and take your time doing this, folks, so that it turns out really nice, okay? So when you get it all pressed in, it's going to actually look like this, okay? I'm not going to take the time to finish pressing that in, and one of the finished edges you do is you take a pastry brush and just brush the extra crumbs off the edge. You put them on a baking sheet and you pop them in the oven for about 5 minutes. And then they come out and they're ready to go. You can use them for just about any pie filling that you like a crumb crust on, okay? So, do you have to use just graham cracker crumbs? No, you can use shortbread cookies. You can use any kind of a crumb that you want to make the crumb crust. You can even use nuts if you wanted to. So, to make our filling for our key lime pie, we're going to need 3 egg yolks. This is just going to make one little pie. 3 egg yolks. You're going to separate the eggs. How do you separate the eggs? Let me show you. There's a couple of ways. And since we need 3 egg yolks, we are going to show you 2 ways of separating your eggs. Crack your egg on a flat surface. Sometimes people will crack their eggs on the edge of a bowl, and what that does is it will make tiny shards of your shell along the edge of the crack. And so when you break your shell in half, you're likely to get more shards into your egg white than you would if you cracked it on a flat surface. So this is why, crack it on a flat surface. You are going to get some shards, but you're not breaking that membrane and you're not getting little bitty tiny shards. Okay? So throw this yolk back and forth between the shells like this to separate. Okay? That's one way of doing it, and we're using the yolks. There's another way of doing this. Now, something I want to tell you. You can save these egg whites for a lot of different uses. You can make macaroons, you can make meringue, you can do a lot of different things with these. But if you get traces of yolk in the egg whites will not whip properly for you. So you've got to be very careful about getting those yolks into your egg whites. So if you intend on using them at all, after you crack each one, I would put it into a different bowl so that just in case you get 5 eggs cracked and then that little bit of yolk gets in it, you're not going to actually ruin the whole bowl of egg yolks or egg whites. So here's another way of doing it. Take your fingers, pour that egg into your hands, and just let that yolk stay in your fingers and that white will slide right through your hands. Okay? So there are our 3 eggs. Let me wash my hands. So now we've got our egg yolks. Let's go over to the mixer. For the mixer, we're going to need the 3 egg yolks. We're going to need a small can of sweetened condensed milk. This is not just your regular milk. It is the milk with the sugar. It's sweetened and it's condensed. And this is what brings all of our body to the actual key lime pie. So we're going to open this up, and we're going to use a spatula to actually make sure that we get all of this out. Okay, so you're going to put it in the bottom of your mixer bowl. And this is so easy, so fast, and so quick. Make sure you use a spatula that you can get everything out of that little can, all right? Because you want every drop. You don't want to leave anything behind. To this sweetened condensed milk, we're going to add our 3 egg yolks. And next thing we're going to do is we're going to add our acid. Now, our key lime juice is very, very acidic. And once it hits those egg yolks, it's going to start cooking those egg yolks, okay? Now, there are different ways of using your key lime juice. You can actually buy a pre-made key lime juice. You can go to the store if you're lucky. If you live in Florida and you get key limes. We used to have a key lime tree when we were down there. The difference between key limes and a regular lime is large and it has really no seeds in it. But the key lime is little tiny things, usually about the size of golf balls, and they're kind of yellowish as opposed to green, and they're chock full of seeds. But their juice is really, really acidic, and this is what makes key lime pie so special. So we're going to take a half a cup of our key lime juice. Just measure this key lime juice, and we're going to pour it right in to our mixer. We're going to use a paddle. We're going to raise our bowl up. And guys, you don't have to have a mixer for this. If you wanted to do this by hand, you could. If you wanted to use a hand mixer, you could. And all you're doing is you're mixing this together until it's smooth. Okay, we're not trying to whip this. We're not trying to add any air to this mixture. All we're trying to do is bring this mixture together. Okay? Lower the paddle. Now, because I'm going to go ahead and make another pie right after this, I'm going to sort of hold on to this. Hold on here. And we're going to use that again in just a minute. So this is what the mixture looks like when it's all done, okay? It's kind of thickish, but you want to see that it's all smooth. And you just take it at this point and just pour it into one of your pie shells. And there you go. And so now, just smooth that out. And you can take that pie just the way it is and put it in the oven for 15 minutes. That's it. That's how you make a key lime pie. When it comes out of the oven, we're going to decorate it with some whipped cream. But here's our twist. we're going to add sour orange juice this time instead of using the key lime juice. Okay, so with our sour orange, you can choose to do a sour orange pie just like your key lime pie, which is really yummy all in itself. It's a little bit sweeter, it's a little bit rich, and to the sour orange pie, I usually try to add some orange zest, and I'm going to show you some zesting tricks in just a moment, okay? Make sure you get all of this sweetened condensed milk out of the can. Once again, we're going to use 3 egg yolks, just like we did with the key lime pie, 3 egg yolks. And now we're going to use some sour orange juice. Once again, if you lived in South Florida, you could go and you could get sour oranges and squeeze them. If you don't have sour orange juice and a sour orange tree available, you can actually buy the sour orange juice in an international section of your grocery store. It usually is sold where the Hispanic foods are because it's a wonderful marinade and it really makes a nice pie. You can make a sour orange pie like this. I also like making it in the style of a lemon meringue pie because it just turns out wonderfully delicious. Now while this is coming together, I'm going to add a little bit of orange zest to it. And I've already got my orange zest done here. And the reason I add the orange zest is because when I decide to marble the 2 pies together, I want to kind of sort of see where the orange is, but it's not going to be dramatic. It's just not going to be a whole lot. So, you know, don't be all excited thinking, oh boy, we're going to have orange and green together, because that's not going to happen. All right, so once again, you're just bringing this everything together. I'm going to lower this down. We're going to get rid of our paddle. And once again, you can see our mixture. You want to take your bowl, you want to wipe it around the edge with your spatula so you make sure you got everything well mixed. And then we're going to pour all of this into another pie shell. And now that I've got both of them up here, I'm going to put them in the oven and let them bake, like I said before, 350 degrees for about 15 minutes. Now, I'm going to show you real quick how you can marble these. You can put them in the oven just like this and have a pure key lime pie. You can have a pure orange pie. If you wanted to commingle them and mix them up a little bit, this is what you'll do. You'll take a little bit of your filling and you could double it in on top of the key lime. Okay, just like this. And I'm going to have to take some of this key lime filling and put it on the other side so that we don't have a pie that's too low and a pie that's too high. Okay? So pull this up like this and put it. You could actually see this filling starting to thicken already. Look. See it? Getting custardy-like. Okay? And then all you're going to do is just take your spoon, a knife or something, and just run it through just a little bit. Okay? Just a little bit, because you still want to have those globs of the wonderful flavor of the key lime. You don't want to dilute it completely, okay? And so I'm going to take a little bit and wipe this down, because you don't want that to burn. 350 degrees, 15 minutes. Now, while our pies are in the oven, I'm going to do a couple things. We can decorate our pies when they're finished with some candied citrus zest. And candied citrus zest is very, very easy to make. And to make that, we're going to use a little bowl of sugar. We're going to use an orange, we're going to use a lime, and we have 2 ways of zesting here, folks. And there's 2 different methods of zesting, and the reason you would choose one over the other is going to be very evident in just one second. Remember when we put the zest into the pie, we wanted that to be very fine, and so we used a microplane. And you do that by rubbing this on the back, and you see what happens is that the zest comes off in a very, very, very fine fashion. So you fold it into things, you put it into dressings, pies, cakes, whatever. You're not getting a very strong bite of citrus zest. However, sometimes we want to use this citrus zest as a decorative element, and that's when you would choose a citrus zester that looks like this. And we call this a 5-hole citrus zester because there's 5 holes across the top. There's usually also a little arrow type doohickey on the bottom of it down here that is used for making what we call a channel. And you use that to carve a nice long piece of zest, which is the colored part of citrus fruit. You can use those in things like espresso or other areas that you want just that big piece in cocktails or whatever. We want that big piece of citrus, but we don't want really big fat pieces of citrus for this candied citrus zest. So we're going to take our zester. You can see that it leans one way or the other, okay? You're going to support the back of it. You're going to put it on the back of a citrus and you're going to draw it down, okay? Thumb, hold it, because you got to press down on this. And see what comes out are these beautiful long strings of citrus zest, okay? You could actually see, oh, the juice coming out of the, oh, it's wonderful. And I love doing this because it just smells so good. So you want to take as long a strands as you can and drop them into this sugar, okay? And you want to do this and let it sit in this overnight is usually best. Because if you do it overnight, what happens is the sugar will actually absorb all the moisture from the zest itself, and then it'll dry out and it'll actually be kind of crispy. And then you just take them out, and then you've got these wonderful, beautiful little pieces of citrus zest that have almost a frosted look to them. And they're just a delight. They're really yummy and tasty to actually eat. You don't want to put this in the refrigerator after you've zested them because the sugar will get hard and crusty. And when you try to break them out of the sugar, you could actually end up breaking your strands instead of having these nice, long, beautiful strings, okay? So that's how you would make citrus zest with a 5-hole zester or with the microplane. And when you're putting your zest into the pie filling itself, use your microplane. When you're using your decorations later, and you'll see the decorations here in just a moment, use your 5-hole zesters so that you can get these beautiful long strands of your zest. And so traditional key lime pie does not come with meringue. Traditional key lime pie is not green. It is actually kind of yellow because key limes are kind of yellow. And I was asked, if limes don't have seeds and key limes do, how do limes propagate? Well, they usually are propagated by grafts from trees. But we're done talking about limes. We're going to talk about whipped cream right now, okay? So we want to get a new bowl, and we're going to use a whip at this point, okay? A whip is your wire whip. Now, once again, you can do this by hand. When you're doing this by hand, be prepared. You're gonna build some muscles, all right? I'm gonna get some whipped cream, whipping cream, heavy cream. I'm gonna pour it into the bowl. And if you want it sweetened, you could add a little bit of confectioner's sugar so you don't get that grainy bite from regular sugar if you put it in there and it doesn't get melted properly. You can add a little bit of vanilla. But what we're going to use today is just straight up everyday cream, all right? All right, you see this? Make sure that your little thing goes. Sometimes when you're doing your KitchenAids, they will actually flip off a little bit. Just put it back in place. And do you know what happens if you whip cream for too long? It'll turn into butter. And there's no reason you can't eat that butter if that happens. All right, whipped cream, here we go. Now that our cream is whipped, we're going to take it, and we're going to put it into a piping bag. To fix your piping bag, this is a really easy way of doing it. Now, a couple ways you can do it. Put your tip in your piping bag, give it a twist so that it doesn't all come leaking out the bottom when you're trying to fill it. You can curl this up and put this over your hand like this and fill it like this. But sometimes people like to have two hands when they're doing a project like this. So take a container and just drop this in there like this. And that way, you can use two hands, all right? I'm going to turn this around, make sure we got it all mixed up. And we're just going to take this and we're going to drop this into our piping bag. Okay. And there is a technique for piping. Bring this up, give this a twist still. Squeeze this all down and make sure you twist this top, okay? Now you can untwist this and actually start squeezing your cream down. Now look, I'm twisting this up here and I'm letting my cream come down to the end of the piping bag. I'm using these fingers up here to squeeze. I'm not squeezing anything down here. And this is how you're going to learn how to pipe professionally onto your pies. All right, I've got a little bit of piping done on this pie already, but I'm going to show you another little technique that we can do on this one. This is our sour orange pie. And so if we want to do like a shell shape, we're going to put the cream out so that it actually bunches up and comes out, okay? So we can actually fill our pie up like this. And it looks really nice, and it's really very easy to do. Watch. Now, watch my hands when I'm doing this. I'm squeezing from up here, and this is just a guide. This is not squeezing. If you squeeze from down here, guys, you're gonna make a big mess of your piping. You get your control by squeezing and twisting here, okay? So watch. I'm gonna let this come out and draw it. Let it pile up and draw it. Let it pile up and draw it. As I need more, I'm gonna twist my bag and keep squeezing. And this hand is doing the squeezing. This hand is basically just the guide, okay? So if you want to actually train yourself, just don't even grab anything with this hand, okay? Forward and pull, forward and pull, forward and pull, okay? And then I'm gonna come back here and I'm gonna finish the rest of this up with these little stars just so we have the whole border filled up with whipped cream, because these pies are so good with whipped cream. All right, so when that's done, we're going to take some of our zest, and when this is done properly, it's really, really pretty. You can pile some here in the center. You can actually take some and put it over some of the edges. Okay? So here is a beautiful sour orange pie in the key lime style. If you wanted to do something a little different, let's say you were having a party, you can always go and you can get these little phyllo cups and fill it up with the key lime filling, put it in the oven, bake it off, and then dollop them off with your whipped cream, and you can see how we've garnished these with the zest as well. We can get our regular old key lime pies. Take our key lime pie once again with our lovely whipped cream, and if we wanted to put more whipped cream around it, because who doesn't like enough whipped cream around our key lime pies? See, there's another technique you can use. See, I'm just making a little circle to go around here like this. Okay, put that away. And then here's our key lime pie. Yum, yum, yum. Next, I'm going to go ahead and slice a piece so you guys can see a sliced pie. All right. Now, if you want to get even slices out of your pie, you can mark it and cut it in half. Just mark it. And then mark these each, coming through this way, and this way again. And that way you know where your slices are going to be. And then just take your knife and cut through the crust. And then using an offset pie server. What is an offset pie server? Offset is this little bend right here, okay? Spatulas can usually be flat and straight, but when they have this little bend to them, that's called an offset because it makes it easier to get in and get this piece of pie out. Put it on your plate. Take a little bit more of your whipped cream. Put some little whipped cream right here on the side. And what we're going to do next is we're going to add a little bit of our zest on here. If you had the lime zest, you can put your lime zest on here. And here's the most important part. Don't forget your fork. All right? So here we go. We have a marbled key lime pie, we have key lime pie, and we have sour orange pie. I do hope you try these. It is the easiest pie in the world to make. And you know what, guys? If you didn't want to use whipped cream from Real, let me show you something. You can use these things. This aerosol whipped cream. You can use this stuff if you don't want to whip your own cream. Let me show you. The problem with it, though, is it doesn't hold up like real whipped cream does. If you let it sit there for a while, like if these pies were going to sit out like on a Thanksgiving table or on a celebration table of any kind, the whipped cream will actually start draining and deflating. It won't stay nice and big and pretty like these, but if you're going to serve it right away, watch. There's no reason you can't use that too. And that just makes it even easier, even faster. So there's no reason you can't make key lime pie, sour orange pie, and be out of the kitchen in less than a half an hour. You can get our recipes on our website at pbscharlotte.org, or you can email me at Pamela, Pamela, .roberts, ROBERTS, @cpcc.edu. I'd love to hear from you. And thanks for watching this episode, and I'll catch you again next time on Charlotte Cooks.
A production of PBS Charlotte.